Hey there, folks. I'm Matt Hansen,
And I'm John Johnson.
and you're listening to
Planes, Trains, and Comic Books.
the podcast where we discuss favorites we've reread, both classic and new comics we want to read, and everything else in between.
And here's the comic we picked this week.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of
Planes, Trains, and Comic Books.
Today, we are dipping our toe into a fucked up minefield of creepy crime awesomeness, I guess. I don't know.
Mind you, this one was technically for one of our
Yes.
our weekly poll winners.
Yes.
We had a tie again.
Not weekly, our monthly poll.
Monthly poll, pardon me.
Yes, we had a tie again between crime and what was the other one? True life.
True life.
So those are the two genres that won our poll for this month from our patrons. So if you would like to vote on those Patreon polls and get a chance to weigh in on some of the or at least one episode that we do each month, so this time we do two because we had a tie. So like I said, it was on genres. So this week we did a crime book. It's crime because crimes are happening. It's not traditional crime, whereas things are getting solved or it's following like a cop or something. It's just like fucked up things are happening and we're seeing crimes take place.
Yeah.
And
There's some cops in this a little.
there's
but-
police and they're generally dickheads in this. So, or part of the bad guys.
Part of the bad guys.
So, we did the book called Red Room, and this is the newest book I think we've done.
Yeah, that's true. We haven't really done anything that's been like super
Yeah.
recent.
I'm trying to think, maybe Thor or Miss Marvel were the last. Or
Maybe,
the
but
newer-
those are even still. It's like what 2015 and
Yeah. I'm
so,
saying
yeah.
those are the newest ones that we've
Newer,
done
yeah.
before this, and now this is a 2020 book, I believe.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is pretty recent. This came out in issues. I bought them all in issues and was very pumped on them when they came out. This is basically an exploitation film from the 70s with a better story, we'll say.
Yeah.
At least underlying story. There's not like this is also each issue is like its own story. So you don't have to read previous issues to understand what's going on. Each issue you pick it up. There's a little blurb at the top that tells you like this is what Red Rooms are. This is what's the book's gonna be about, and then they throw you into the story. So you don't have to go and find back issues every time. You can just find one on the stands and pick it up, and you'll be able to read it. And which I kind of like. There's no books like that on the stands right now.
Yeah.
It's very, very unique for this time, and he did that on purpose. I should also say this is written by Ed Piskor, who we've done books before from. We did the
Hip Hop Family Tree.
Yes, Volume 1.
I really enjoyed that too. Like I
Yes.
definitely would love to revisit this. I almost said the sequel.
The franchise. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
the next ones of those.
Yeah. I've read the second one. I have that one. That one's good. I need to get all three or all four of them, but I just it's.
It
I
costs
have
money,
too many books and on my list of things to buy and not enough money.
and we're almost in a recession, something like that.
Almost.
They haven't said the word.
They haven't
yet.
said the word yet, but sure, almost. Whatever. So save your money now.
Yes.
Because, don't go buy any big statues or anything.
That's why you like, share, and subscribe, because we will still keep reading. We'll still letting you know what is out there as long as the comic industry is still going.
You could just write it down in your journal until after the recession, and you have money again, and then you can buy it.
Yeah.
You can go through the list.
I love that episode Matt and John did on
4 years ago.
I'm gonna go pick that up.
Well, now that the economy is back in action, 4 years
Buy
later.
comics.
Yes. Hey, I went through that.
I was gonna say you went through that exact thing. We've been here before. It'll happen again.
It'll happen. Hey, it's
a circle of
it's
life.
it's a circle of life. It ebbs and flows. The sun rises and the
Moves us
sun
all.
sets. Yeah, all that stuff. Wax on, wax off. Whatever you say. This was like the brainchild of Ed Piskor. I think he wanted to do the most fucked up punk rock, cancelable / bannable books that's been out on shelves for a really long time. And because he did it like himself and through Fantagraphics, it kind of he's got a name, right? So obviously comic book stores want to carry his stuff because it will sell. But when it's like he forced the comic book stores to carry like like horrible garbage or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean that in like a good way. Like I just mean like the subject matter is very, very, very mature and very intense. There is nudity.
Yeah.
There is fucked up murdering on almost every page of this book. He went out of his way to learn, like study anatomy of humans and make everything as realistic while also being cartoony as possible. He went out of his way to show them, like come up with the most graphic things he could to show on the page on purpose, because the plot of this book is, and I'm sure you know about these, John. You know what cam girls are, John?
What? No.
Yeah. So there's these. I don't have no idea what these are either. But apparently there are ladies who are on these like video chat rooms. They will take clothes off or whatever, or paint their nails. Who the fuck knows? Read stories, and people watching them will pay money and then like offer suggestions or just like to be in the chat and support the artist, we'll say. And so that is the idea behind Red Rooms, except instead of stripping or having a relationship with someone on the internet that you like or whatever, it is having a relationship with a serial killer on the internet. So you get to pay a serial killer to murder someone live. It's basically like a mix of Saw and Cam Girls.
Videodrome.
And it's Videodrome.
That's what I was kind of looking at. That's our Cronenberg reference for the episode.
They reference Cronenberg in this. Videodrome is a good example, a good call for that one.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen Videodrome by David Cronenberg, go do yourself a favor and check it out. But also know it's very weird, and you probably won't get it the first time.
Long live the new flesh.
Long live the new flesh. But yeah, so this is definitely an outside of the box idea for a comic. This could never be a Marvel or DC comic, or even I don't think Image would publish this.
No, nothing. Yeah, none of the super.
I don't think Vertigo would. Vertigo might put this out.
Yeah.
Maybe if they toned it down a little bit, But this is a Fantagraphics book, so they are they'll let you kind of do anything as long as they believe in the project, I guess, and support the creator. So
it's like the long and short of it, it's the dark web with these type of videos on it, but it seems like more than like normal amount of people watch these videos. Like definitely seems like more part of the like cultural, not acceptance per se, but like more people know about it, and like it's actively on the minds of more people, and
people know how to get on the dark web more as well.
Yeah. That's why I'm just trying to think about the perspective of it, because it's like it's like YouTube. Like we all know YouTube,
it's
but
like YouTube if it was harder to get to, and there's a lot more illegal stuff going on there.
Yeah. Yes. We're there. None of that. Well, I mean, people try to upload that stuff to YouTube, but they have really good people to stop that, which is good.
Sure.
But I mean, I had friends that worked for YouTube that told me horror stories of, because they're content moderators, and some of the things they had to see.
Oh man, I can only imagine the stuff that they would see. But it's good. I guess someone's got to see it, right? So you can't leave that shit to an algorithm, or else they'll end up like the maths will end up being Skynet or some shit.
Yeah, and something will get through because it'll be called or done different. They'll figure it out. Anyway, there's some weird things I've seen on. We've all heard about the people put those weird videos after kid in the kids section, but it's just like a puppet murdering another puppet, and you're like, why would this be in the kids section? Because it's got puppets in it, whatever. Anyway, so this book, it's fucked up. It's got crimes, obviously, because we're talking about serial killers and murderers. And so let's just dive in. Like I said, the name of this trade is called The Antisocial Network, and it is 4 issues long, but the first issue is a whopping 60 pages. So they gave you your money's worth in that first issue. So we start off with a man named Davis, and he works at a police station, right? But he's like a clerk. Yeah, he's a clerk for like the county police, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is. Because the police make fun of him and be like, go back to pushing paperwork or whatever and stuff. So I thought maybe he was like...
I thought he was a detective maybe.
No, he's not a detective. Yeah, I think Ed said that he was like on one of his YouTube videos that he was supposed to be like a attorney general's clerk or whatever or something. So he works in the police station, but he's not part of the police or whatever.
Yeah.
So as I don't know if you know this, I mean, there are some serial killers out there who have things like this where they go to cop bars and they're friendly with them, and then cops know them, and then 20 years later they find out, hey, that was the Memphis Strangler or whatever, and it's like, oh my God, I knew Rick or whatever. So, like that's happened with like Ed Kemper, and I want to say like, well, BTK had like, he was like some kind of officer. I think he did like lawn violation officer. Like he would go around neighborhoods and be like, "Hey, your mailbox crooked. That's a ticket.
Fix that."
Yeah, and then he'd murder you later or whatever. So there's people like that have been around police or in that area of work, and then they end up being serial killers. So I think I kind of already buried the lead, but he is a serial killer, but he's on his cool period, right? He's got a family and a wife and kids. And one day he gets, while he's at work, all of a sudden a cop car comes in and they say, "Oh my God, your wife and one of your daughter, or your wife and kids have been in a car accident, and your wife is dead, and one of the daughters is like seriously injured, and the other one is in critical condition, but she's less serious." And so he rushes to the police station, and they tell him, "Oh, your wife is dead, and your daughter."
He rushes to the hospital.
What is it? Oh,
he's at the police station.
He rushes to the hospital. Thank you. And the doctor says, "Oh yes, your wife Dolores is dead. Your daughter Haley is." I like the way the doctor says this is so fucked up. But she's like, "So let's talk about organ donation, like for her, because like she's about to die. Like I don't know how to say this any better or whatever. It's like Jesus." And then he has a daughter named Brianna, and she was the one who was hurt least, but she's still kind of fucked up. Then we cut away from Davis. And we cut to some, I guess, like
eco-punks.
Eco-punks. There you go.
They made me think of like Captain Planet a little bit, but
punk version. They look like the kids from Night of the Living Dead. No, I'm sorry. What's the one from the 80s?
Oh,
Return of the Living
Dead. Yeah,
they look like the kids from Return of the Living Dead. But they are like eco-terrorist kids or whatever, like eco-punkers.
You think this is a costume? It's a fucking way of life.
It's fucking life. So yeah, there's a girl and a guy, and they're taking pictures of this factory farm runoff from this farm that's owned by the Thelma family.
Yeah, I think that's how you say it, Thelma.
Yeah. Thelma or Thelma. I'm not exactly sure how it's pronounced, but they're taking pictures of this, and they're like, we're gonna expose this family. This is like worse than some of those factory farms in Alabama. It's gonna be awesome. And while they're talking, the girl has a drone, and she's like, oh, I'm gonna send it up the pipes because there's like these big sewage pipes that are dumping, and I'm gonna send it up the pipes and see if we can see anything more worse in there. Like, I'm assuming that she's thinking she's gonna come out through like a cow grate and see like horrible treatment of cows or something that she can reveal. But as she sends this drone in there, it crashes because, it doesn't have that much room to move around inside of a pipe. And while she's kind of like, oh, give me another drone to the guy, he's being captured by a guard of the Thelma family. And then we cut to the first of many of the Red Room films. So what the Red Rooms are, they're not live. That's the only difference between, like, I guess Cam Girls or whatever, is they're live. And these are actual videos that they upload to the site. So they film these videos, then they upload them.
And some of them are live because well, at least maybe later they do, because there's one they're like, go live.
That's true. You're right. Some of them are live. Some of them are uploaded, though, and they sell them like as individual videos. I guess those, they probably do that anyway. Like, yeah, it makes sense. You would have like inventory or whatever that you could sell always, and then you have like the live ones.
Some live ones, yeah.
You're right. I forgot that they actually do actual live ones. Yeah, because there's a live chat going on. So, yeah, all of these videos they just look like a little screen, just like it kind of looks like old Macintosh font and everything. Like what is it? So what is the Macintosh stuff called? The not Windows, but whatever it's called.
Just the Mac OS. I don't know what the.
Yeah, I guess iOS 9 is what it looks like. The old school one before iOS
Snow
10.
Leopard. I don't know.
No.
It's way before.
Way before Snow Leopard.
Way before the big cats.
Yes, and the mountains and the captains or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, it looks like that and like crossed with like AIM. Although I never had a Mac when I was little, so I don't know what the chat function was like on that. So
I didn't either, but I used one at school once and was like, I don't like Macs, I like Windows, and then that flipped when Macs got cool in high school. So, but yeah, so we see this chat window with like a video playing, and everything is in Bitcoin. Like the people chatting are paying in Bitcoin, and everything, because Bitcoin at this time, at least when this was written, was worth a super lot. Everybody's paying like 0.0003 Bitcoins or whatever, and then they'll say, you know, like, oh, we like, I guess they don't actually say like do this for the most part. Most of the time they're just paying when they like something that's going on. Yeah. So, and they won't pay when something that they don't like is going on. So the first video we see is of a man who is, what's his name? I don't know what the actual guy's name is. Horace? No. I can't remember the name of the hemoglobin. Okay, so each of these performers in the serial killers in these videos have like their own persona. And that's like part of it. They're kind of like wrestlers or some shit. Yeah. So like they come up with their own shtick, and then they like kill people based on that shtick generally. And this guy's name is Hemoglobin. I'm assuming that means, or Hemogoblin. I'm sorry. And so I'm assuming, you know, he likes to see blood, hemo, and he is putting fish hooks through someone's torso, and then he's kind of making it like a puppet master with their body parts. And so that's like what his shtick is in this video. So yeah, and like I said, this is super graphic. Like from page 3 or whatever this is, like you're seeing, okay, he's putting fish hooks through the skin and, you know, holding it there. And then he takes a knife and stabs it through the guy's lower jaw, but not through his head, just through his lower jaw, out through his mouth. So they're like torturing people on these things, of course, because that makes it fun. And I think you said it best when you said, I tried to read the chats and I got grossed out when there's obviously a woman who was in the chats and she says, I'm so wet right now from like a guy getting his intestines pulled out.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I'm not going to read all the chat. Well, because I was like, maybe this is all important to start. No,
it's not.
I think some of it's just there for aesthetic and...
Yes, so I will say, I've read this before in issues, and then I read this for this podcast in a trade form. And the best way to read this, if you are not wanting to be like, what the fuck? Because this is a lot to hit you in the face right away, is just read the dialogue and glance at the pictures. Like, you don't need to read. I mean, the second time through, once you like understand what's going on and you kind of get it better, and you maybe decide, yes, this is a cool story that I want to continue to read, you would go back and then you can read all the chats, and then it's like funnier or more fucked up, or like you could see what he's doing, and there's like a hint, there's like a tongue-in-cheekness to what Ed is doing in this comic. It's not what the people are saying is funny, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, John laughed, you know, probably.
Oh, wow. Yeah. After the first one I read, and I was like, no, I'm good.
I just want to say, John, you know, you could go as like Halloween as the main guy from this, right?
Oh, wow. Thanks.
No, you could. I mean, you could be like Captain Slaughter or whatever, Sergeant Slaughter.
No,
no, you don't want
to. That's different. That's a wrestler.
Oh, you're right. Oh, anyway, I don't mean that in a mean way.
He was also G.I. Joe.
That's true. He was. I mean that in you have the face, and you know, like you could wear the costume and it would look cool on you. That's what I meant. Like, you know, like I look like. When I wore my Jason mask and my work clothes, I looked like Jason, and people were scared.
Yeah, it's just because you're tall and like bulky.
Some people say that. Some people just tall and fat. That's what they. I'm like Jason in Jason 9. Like Jason Goes to Hell. Before he goes to hell, he gets blown up and he's all bulbousy and kind of bloated. That's my Jason. All right, that's the one I could go at. So, anyway, so yeah, I would recommend if you're reading this comic for the first time, just read the dialogue. Understand what's going on in these pages, because a lot of these pages are just you're seeing a screen and you're seeing some dialogue from people off screen talking. So you're seeing the actual Red Room videos as they play out, and then you're hearing someone in the other room or whatever talking, or somewhere else in the room, And that is what you should focus on if you don't want to go crazy or be like, what the fuck is this? So I didn't know that until after we read it, or else I would have told you that, John, because you probably would have been like, Jesus, you wouldn't be as harmed and traumatized as what's going on. But anyway, so we see the guard that knocked out the two or captured the two eco punks. He's bringing them to this house, which is the house of the farm that they were at, the Thelema farm, and he gets buzzed in, and we see that there's a bunch of people. We don't ever see their faces, but they're the family, the Thelema family. There's a woman who is the head of this Red Room video company. There's not just one either. There's multiple Red Room video companies. There's Pentagram Pictures, right? That's what it's called. Mm-hmm. Pentagram Pictures is the one that the Thelema family own. And they have a very specific look, and their look is they kill like homeless people basically a lot because those are easy people to get, and no one looks for them and stuff. And then they're not even necessarily homeless because we find out later that they actually like breed people instead of having actual cows. Yeah. They like just have people in these pens or whatever, and they breed them for these videos, just for that. And so what the eco punks were looking at earlier, they thought was cow shit, was actually human shit because they don't have any cows on this farm.
Yeah.
So just a fucked up concept in general. And then we see how fucked up this family is. There's 3 other brothers. They're all named after, the brothers are all named after like Egyptian gods, like Horus, Osiris, and something else. I can't remember.
Crowley.
Okay, Crowley's not, but Aleister Crowley, I guess is what he is. And then her name is
Mistress Pentagram.
There you go. And she's got a persona that I guess she's probably like the face of the videos, like kind of like the Crypt Keeper or something. I'm assuming she's like the logo or whatever that people know her from. So because she's never in these videos herself, but it seems like people know who she is. And so. We see how fucked up they are because the guy that was doing his job and brought the eco punks in, they kill him because they're like, he's the only person who could tie us to those kids, and we're gonna kill those kids in a video. So we got to make sure no one knows anything about them. Then we cut to the funeral of Mr. Davis's family, and so we see Brianna, his daughter, is there, and him. And it looks like a pretty small funeral. Doesn't look like there's a lot of people there. But the police show up, and he always draws the police with like a smug assholeness, which I kind of think is funny. But like it's a funeral for his family, and they're like, "Hey," like just the look on their face is like, "Hey, fat fuck," like you. I hope you're okay, but we're missing you at work. How come no one's pushing papers or whatever? Like they're always always got something to say to him.
They did say it's for whatever you want to say.
They say it, but their faces say something. That's what I mean. Like they don't actually say those words, but that's what their faces say. The emotion or the expression on their faces. They look smug and like dicks. So Brianna gets mad because as everybody's shaking her dad's hand, they're ignoring her, and then also everybody's saying the same thing, like, "Oh yeah, they were taken too soon," and. Times heals all wounds, and it's part of God's plan, and all this stuff. And so Brianna is very angry, and her dad is just kind of shaking hands, and he's just going through the motions. But they both are left at the I guess gravesite or whatever, and looking at the boxes before they go in the earth. And this is one of the moments that before because we're not. If you're reading this in real time, you don't know that Davis is a serial killer. You're just like, I feel bad for this guy and his family, his daughter and him. And so they actually have like a bonding moment where like you think, he's a nice dad or whatever. There's one. This is like a great picture of him because they draw him, or Ed draws him like kind of like
it's like the Kingpin.
Yes, the Kingpin from Spider-Verse.
Yeah,
which is gigantic, and then he's got like a head, like on the top of his gigantic body, and then. But this was a funny picture or a funny panel because his daughter, who's also wearing black, is standing in front of him, and like her black dress is totally black. You can't see her dress at all. It just looks like her head and arm are floating inside of his black suit.
The mask that is.
Yeah, so I thought that was like a well composed panel just in general because it looks it's interesting. It looks interesting. But yeah, so we see that like he seems like a nice dad, even though it seems like he actually cares about his daughter, even though in the background we know something's stirring, or we know, but we don't know. If you were reading this for the first time, you wouldn't know. Then we cut back to those eco punks getting tortured live on one of these streams, and it's going okay, but it just seems like maybe the pentagram pictures haven't quite.
Yeah, I guess the only thing that we'll say as far as like their concern is like they're getting a certain amount of like views and money, but they're like, but we need to figure out like how to get more. Like how can we up the ante with these videos? With all these different red rooms out there, how can we stand out even more?
Yes. And then, we get a lot of Davis and his daughter and like her growing up. So like it seems like they maybe go months at a time sometimes in between these cuts.
Yeah.
Because like, now his daughter is, like getting out of high school. Then later on, or like she's about to graduate high school. Then later on, he's like, oh, I'm going to pay for your college. So it's like, these jump time for sure because, she's about to go with a friend, to like a friend's house for the weekend or something, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna go to my cabin, and then we don't know what he's doing exactly, but when he gets back in his house after she leaves, we see him open his computer and he's got like an evil smile on his face, and then we see a woman reflecting in his aviator glasses, his Mavericks we'll call them, and we don't know what that woman is, but until later on when we find out that we get introduced to like all the players in the Red Room universe, and by Red Room we mean all the different companies. So the one he was looking at is a woman that is the most popular Red Room channel, I guess, because she's a woman is what they're saying. Like, oh, she attracts that side of it, and then like the creeps who are into the murder, they want to see a pretty girl commit murder or whatever kind of thing. But we get a couple more of these guys. There's this guy named Poker Face, and he's got like Ed went out of his way to create personas for each of these guys, so each of these killers. And one person that's watching Poker Face's videos is a lawyer named Dominic, and he's the lawyer for all these Red Room people. If they ever get in trouble, he comes in and says, "Oh, they were just watching the videos. They weren't making them, so it's not murder or anything, and they don't know anything about the actual making of them. It's just, they downloaded it on accident, and what's the lightest sentence you can give them?" And so he's kind of like the all around lawyer for the Thelma clan or whatever, the Thelma video production people. And then we cut to the house where they're about to make another video, and we find out like how they get their killers to the house and out without being noticed. And what they do is they actually ship the people. They have a guy. What's his name? It's oh man, I can't remember his name.
This one's Hazard.
Yeah, Hazard Paleface is his last. They call him Hazard Paleface. His persona is a clown with like an upside down cross on his head, and he looks like Bozo the Clown. Or no, he looks like
Dr. Roxo, kind of.
Dr. Roxo mixed with like Homie the Clown.
Yes.
Mixed with like. Say Satan. We'll say Satan. Kiss. Like Kiss makeup or whatever. So Paleface or Hazard Paleface he gets shipped there in a box. They like give him anesthesia so he doesn't move, and no one in the shipping, no one at the post office would know what it is. And so he gets shipped there. He's spitting out like packing peanuts, which is funny. Yeah, I like
that. It was funny when he opens the box.
Yeah, and so he's filming a video, and we see that Pentagram Pictures is having a hard time because even in this movie that he's making right now, he only makes $600 after killing a man by popping out his eyeballs and then smashing them. And they're like, Mistress, what's her name? Mistress
Pentagram.
Pentagram is saying, people don't like eye stuff or whatever. It's too visceral or whatever. Like, that's why you're not making any money. So she basically says, your time, like, she doesn't tell him this, but she talks to another one of her sons, or I guess brothers maybe, and says, his time's up. Like make sure like it goes quietly, but send him away and make sure it's all the way away.
The way.
And so that's like we just learn about them like their family and how cutthroat their business is, but they're not doing too well. They need a gimmick, damn it. They're losing to their competitors, and they can't have that. They're supposed to be like the number one people. And then we cut back to the daughter, Brianna, who is crying to her friend about how her dad seems so like distant, and he's not been the same ever since his wife and daughter died and everything.
He spent time away from the family before, but now it seems like he's spending even kind of more time away. He's distant with her too, so she thinks maybe it's her.
Yes, and so we get another. Well, we learn about the other companies as Pentagram Pictures. The Thelma family is talking about like how they're not number one and they want to be, and we learn like, okay, there's Poker Face, he's pretty popular. Then there's a I don't remember what the name of the company is, but they have people that look normal, which is their biggest attraction. They're like, we don't know how they get these normal people without getting caught, because you can't just pull normies off the street. Someone's going to notice that they go missing. So
they're like, they got people that look like your boss or your neighbor.
Yes. Or Mark Maron. I don't know. This guy looks like Mark Maron.
He does.
And so, yeah, it's like, okay, as opposed to like junkies or prostitutes or something that people are not going to notice as much, or your own stable of cattle people that you grow yourself, which is what these people do. And so they look pretty rough. I'm like, you can just feed your cow people better, free range. Run on the free range.
Those are the free range children.
Yeah. You're gonna get stringy and tough. And then we see the one that's like the most popular, like I said, is someone named Sarah Jane Payne, and she is the one that the dad was looking at, Davis was looking at earlier. And so we see the lawyer has met with a guy who he's getting off of a charge of owning or having in possession of Red Room videos. He doesn't get him off fully, though. He's like, hey, you're going to have to serve 1.5 years because you had a lot of videos. And it was like basically just intent to distribute or some shit like that. It wasn't just I had a VHS or something. But then we find out that Pentagram Pictures has a new video that they found that's kind of circling. It got uploaded on their software. And it turns out that they put like a virus to be able to track IPs of people who upload videos so that they can find new killers, So someone uploads a video that they think has promise, and it just happens to be our old pal Davies.
Yeah, he's at a bar one night, and there's some cop buddies. Well, we should say not buddies, but some cop guys there. They basically end up making fun of him, and he's like, "Oh, I'm getting out of here." And
as he's pulling out in his car, he gets stabbed in the neck from someone in the back seat with some knockout juice, and and he gets knocked out. And then they proceed. When he wakes up, he's tied up in chains in the kill room, and he's like, "What's going on?" And they're like, "We want you. Like, what you made has a lot of potential, and we know what you are." And he's like, "You don't know anything. I'm not anything." And he's like, "We know what you."
I like that they try. He tried to be like, "Oh no, I don't know what's going on." They're like, "Come on now," and they shove a gun in his face. And he's like, "Damn dark web! I thought this stuff was untraceable." And blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Like I thought I could get away with it. And then they also have him like call his daughter and like make sure that his story's covered. Like, "Hey, I had to go away for work, honey. Don't worry." And she's like, "You've been gone for 3 days." So like he was knocked out for like 3 days or whatever, and he didn't know that. And then he's like, "Oh no, I'm helping the police with something, and I'm here. I'm totally helping." And then we see that she's at a VHS store looking at the, I guess, legal version of this stuff, which is like the film Cannibal Holocaust. Like her and her friend are trying to find bootlegs of the most extreme videos or VHS tapes. And then her friend is like, "I heard that this guy sells Red Room videos." And Davis's daughter, Brianna's like, "That's fucked up. Like that stuff's like too crazy or whatever. Like, no, we just want to watch Cannibal Holocaust in peace. God damn it!" All right. By the way, don't watch Cannibal Holocaust if you care about
you love animals. Yeah, don't watch.
Just FYI. One time, it was a fun story. Me and John were like, let's rent the most fucked up video we can find at a video store, local. It wasn't Blockbuster. They didn't carry that.
Yeah.
We went to like a local Austin place. This was in 2008 or 9?
Something like that.
2008. It had to be like 7 or 8. And so we went there and we're just browsing titles, as you do. And I just saw the name Cannibal Holocaust. And I'm like, well, that one won.
That's a great. I was like, that's a title.
That wins, because what else could be, worse than that? And we watched it, and the second there was some animal harm in it started, we were like, what the fuck? Like we could tell it wasn't movie magic, and that was all we needed.
Yeah.
So don't watch that movie. It's got bad stuff in it.
Yeah.
Just for reference.
Yeah. There was one interesting fact about that movie is that there is animal harm. And it's very bad.
But there's also movie magic people harming it.
Yeah, but it looks like for the time
it doesn't.
No, for the time it doesn't look like too bad. Like
sure.
It's still, you could tell.
Sure.
But apparently, because especially the animal is so real in it, and because it was
it was filmed in Brazil. It's by an Italian director. Yeah.
They had to they charged the director because there's just kids in this movie. It's probably like the only movie that most of them were in, and they didn't. This got seen a lot, and they're like, well, where are these people?
Yeah, who are these actors? Yeah. Did you murder them for real? So he actually got put on trial for murder.
Yeah, he had to bring in the kids.
Yeah, he's like, look, they're alive. It's movie magic, all right?
Yeah. I just thought that.
The animals weren't movie magic. I don't know why we had to kill them, but the people, we totally didn't kill them. So anyway, that's just a little PSA. Don't watch that movie.
Don't watch Cannibal Holocaust.
Don't watch that movie in general. It's really boring and long and doesn't need to be watched because it's boring. But don't watch it, especially if you don't like it. If you don't like animal, well, no one likes it. But if you don't want to see animals get hurt. So anyway, they get this video, and the friend is like super stoked about it. But Brianna's just kind of like going along with her friend, who I'm imagining she doesn't like. Brianna probably doesn't have a lot of friends, so
yeah.
Her friend just. Also, her friend looks pretty evil because I don't know why, and I would like to see like a reason. Like, ask him one day, like, why did you do this? But he like made her friend's eyes black. Like, there's no pupils; it's just black eyes. That's all the time. I noticed that while I was reading this again, and I was like, well, that's so weird. Such a weird choice, but whatever. I don't know. It's art. Who knows? But anyway, we cut back to Pentagram Pictures, and they're talking to Davis, and they're like, we caught you. And we know this is you. This is your, what is it?
Major Slaughter.
That's why
you said Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah, there you go.
Just different rank.
It's Major Slaughter. His face is covered, which is why he thought he was protected. But he's got kind of like army fatigues on. And then he goes through the process of, do we know who he kills?
No, I don't think so.
I guess he just picks a random person and then goes to town, skins their face, like says it's like a Halloween mask or whatever, and wears it for a second, and then they were like, that was some fucked up shit, but it's awesome. We need you we need you making videos.
Yeah, I have a proposal for you, basically. I definitely didn't see that coming. I was, I figured, I honestly thought
or something.
Yeah, I thought they were going to kill him or blackmail him, but I didn't see it being like, we want you.
Yeah. We think you got the stuff, kid.
You got talent.
Yes. So they take him on a tour through the facilities, and they're like, we want you to make a video today. Here's our cattle farm, in quotations. It's not real cattle, it's people. And then, but also we want you to not be Major Slaughter anymore. We want you to come up with a new name. And so he decides on the persona called the Decimator, which will take a piece by piece of you until you're like only left with 1/10 of your body, and hopefully he's still alive is what he's hoping for.
Yeah.
So it's like a strategic killing, I guess. And his costume, describe his costume, John.
It's a one of those old school gas masks that look like a plague doctor mask.
It's a plague doctor. It's not a gas mask.
Sorry, that's what I meant. Plague doctor mask. Yeah. Then he's kind of got like barbarian
chest armor.
Chest armor, and like looks like fur cape kind of over his shoulders, and like he's got like it look almost like fur boots on too. And then he's got like, it looks like a Thor hammer and then a big battle axe.
Yeah. And so that's what he's going at as on his first video. And when he makes that video, it goes super viral. And he's like, this is the best thing that's ever happened. Like, this was so fun. When can I do it again?
When are we doing that one? They're like, and they were like, we got to pace it. You got to, people, what did she say? She was like, people don't want like the same thing every day. Like you gotta make
you gotta make them want it. You gotta leave them wanting more.
Yeah.
And so then we see the next day he's back at his house, Davis's, and he's throwing up because of the anesthesia. I'm assuming is what it is that he had to take to get sent out of that house. And then I was like, how heavy is that box? Because I don't think we've said what he looks like. He looks like, you know, that guy from Office Space who's like, I'm good with people, damn it. He looks like that guy, but add like 400 pounds.
He looks like the police officer from NYPD Blue, Dennis Franz.
Yes, the guy from
City of Angels 2.
Okay, that's not what I was going to say, but
what were you going to say?
Die Hard 2.
Oh, Die Hard 2, yes. Yes, much better.
Fuck you, McClane.
Yes, but like 400 pounds.
Yeah. Yes.
Maybe more.
On top of what he already weighed.
Yes.
And so, yeah, he's a pretty big guy. So he's horking up. I like the like onomatopoeias he uses in this. Like hork.
Yeah.
And then he like draws like vomit around the hork and stuff. So it's really gross looking. And so he's throwing up, and then his daughter hears that, and then he's burning stuff outside too, because he's like burning his clothes so that no one can trace it to him. And then the last panel of this issue is the daughter being like, I love you, Dad. Like, you know, I think everything's going to be just fine.
Well, yeah, because he's like, apparently he hasn't been to work in a couple days either. And she's like, yeah, they called and said you were a no-call, no-show. And he's like, that's okay. I was going to quit that job anyway.
Yeah. We should also say he made a shit ton of money on the first video, and he's only making more every video.
Yeah.
So he can quit his job now, and now he's like, oh, I can send my kid to college.
Yeah.
This is just benefits. I get to kill people, and I get to make financially stable decisions.
Yeah.
You know, with money or whatever.
He's like, but they don't teach you that in school about investing and like growing your capital.
Yeah,
blah, blah.
He basically tells her he made some smart investments a while ago, and now they're paying off. So she's like, oh, Daddy, I can't believe it, when he tells her that he's going to pay for her college, and he already paid for it. In fact, she just has to go. So that's where we leave this family with this issue. Then we go to the next issue that's called Fresh Meat, and we see our boy Davis is kicking it off. You know, he's making more videos as the Decimator. We start off with his most popular, most recent Red Room videos. And then we see what's going on. The reason why who's watching that is the competition now. The competition of Pentagram Pictures is like, what the fuck? Who's this Decimator guy? I can't believe they got him and not us. You know, we need to step it up. We need to find something else. We need to find our own gimmick. So what they do, we find this is the one that finds people who look normal. And so we find out how they find these people that look normal, and how they're not able to, like how the police aren't able to find those people afterwards. So we start off, and I'm assuming it's like Katrina or something. There's a flooded area.
Makes it seem like that, yeah.
There's a flooded area with a man and his dog on a roof. He's like, oh my God, you know, my poor dog, my pup, the leg is broke. He set the dog's leg, and he's like, we're going to get out of here. Don't you worry. And then all of a sudden a helicopter comes out of nowhere, and they look like they're going to rescue him. But when like they pick him up, they're like, leave the dog. He's like, no, we can't leave the dog. It's my favorite dog. And they're like, shut the fuck up. And they like hit him in the face with a gun, and then they knock him out, and then they end up shooting the dog. We don't see the actual shot. I will say this. Ed did a good job. He made a good decision. He could kill as many people and humans as he wants horribly, but he will not kill an animal in this. He does the opposite of Cannibal Holocaust.
Yes. No, yeah. The shot lines up, like, looks like it's going to get the dog, and then you go to the next panel.
Yeah, and so
you don't see it.
So what this company does is they have a doctor who's a plastic surgeon, and they're holding his family ransom. And they're like, you will be our doctor for plastic surgeries and stuff, or else we'll kill your family. And I guess they've made it look like either he left the family. I'm assuming that's what it is. They didn't make it seem like he killed them, or they killed him or whatever. It's like he's dead. They make it seem like he just was like, I have to leave. We're done. And then like he leaves, and then they're protected. And then what he does is when they bring someone off the streets that's a normal person that would normally have people searching for them and, you know, news reports and police everywhere, he does plastic surgery on their face, so when they're on camera, no one knows that that's them in the Red Room video. And so that's kind of what the setup of this is. We see the doctor's family, you know, they're showing him videos like look at your family. They're great. They're happy. You know, they're coming along. Like they're less sad than before. Like it seems like they're moving on from you, you know? And he's like, okay, I guess that's good. But like, you know, the doctor's super torn up. We see he is actually chained onto like a radiator in a room. So he's not having a good time. But he has to perform these surgeries or else they'll kill his family. And then this is like the most fucked up part. So they show him in order to get him to kind of cooperate with them more. They're like, hey, your family, you know, let's look at the newest video. And they show his wife in like their top window, like in silhouette, because like the light's coming out, and she's with someone, and she's having sex with someone in the video.
Yes, the shadows are very suggestive.
Yes, suggestive. They're like full on.
Well, you don't see anything. It's just shadows.
It's shadows, but okay.
Maybe she fell.
There's no questioning.
Maybe she fell and he's helping her up.
Yeah, sure. She fell against the wall and he's behind her, grabbing her hips, helping her up.
Yes,
that's what it is.
That's exactly what it is.
Okay, so they show him this and they're like, "Do you want us to take care of him? You know, he could be in these videos if you want." And he's like, "No, don't do that. It's fine." And then we see the kid that they saved in quotation marks at the beginning of this. He's got a completely different face now. Looks totally different. You would never be able to figure out who he is. And then they get him ready for the new Poker Face Red Room video. So this is the company that I guess runs or uses Poker Face as their main killer. And so we get like some pretty gnarly. This is like one of the most graphic scenes, I think, of this trade. I think.
Oh yeah.
Where Poker Face takes like a super sharp machete knife and like stands behind the guy who's being hung by his arms up like on a meat hook, kind of like if his hands are above his head and he's just hanging from them. And so he comes up behind this man who's hanging, and he puts the knife on the dude's chest and he pulls down slowly,
like you're slicing off a piece of bread or a piece of cheese.
Yeah, but he's slicing off the dude's
block.
chest and abdomen, just straight down though. And so it's pretty graphic as his intestines and stuff fall out. And then it opens like, you know, like a flap at that point. And so all the intestines are there. And then Poker Face grabs him and like begins to choke the man with his intestines and all this stuff. It's super fucked up. It's like like I said, one of the most graphic videos on here. Yeah. And then, so at the end of that stream, I guess the doctor is forced to watch these videos as well. So at the end of the stream, the guys come in and like, "Oh, doctor, it was a success. You saw it, right? Like it looked great. No one's going to know that was the guy we took from the streets." And he's like, "Hey, you think we could get that guy that was fucking my wife in here?" like, and that's the end of that story. Yeah. It's like a good like twist ending on the end of that. A lot of these kind of feel, because they are like one shots, and they even like he even goes into it a little bit at the end on the last issue, that this is, or it's like an homage to like Tales from the Crypt or things like that, where there's like one story, but there's always kind of like a twist on it that you wouldn't think is coming. Yeah. Because the next one is a very twisty one. We see a man is in prison. His name is Mr. Turks, and he is in prison for developing the website software, I guess, or the platform that hosts these, that is allowing or is able to host these videos with anonymity. So this is kind of like the Silk Road case that actually happened in real life, where there was a guy named Ross Ulbricht who created this internet website on the deep web or the dark web called Silk Road. And it was like basically eBay for anything. So you want to sell heroin on it, you're good, because it's just like this, where it's Bitcoin, it's anonymous, and there's no way to track who's in it, right? And so the police ended up like getting into this, like worming their way in, and getting people inside the I guess people who made it, like Ross and his group of friends, because technically they weren't doing anything illegal. They made a website where people were doing illegal things
activities,
on. And so I guess it was like the platform for it or whatever. And so the police did not like that, and they arrested him. Depending on who you talk to, he's either innocent and in jail for trumped up charges from the FBI, or he tried to hire a killer to kill someone that was, I don't know, his friend or something, on that website.
On the own website that he
on his
created.
own website. and like talk to FBI agents or whatever about it that were like undercover. So I don't know exactly. I haven't researched it that much, but I just know that much about it. So this guy is supposed to be kind of like the Ross Ulbricht, where he was arrested for the crimes of other people on this website, and he's been in jail. And the FBI comes up to him because they're like, I don't know if it's only the FBI, but like the CIA or whoever is in on this. The government, we'll say, government agents are talking to him, and they're like, we want you to like figure out who these sick fucks are. You're the one who created this. You have to be able to figure out like a backdoor into your own system or whatever, your own software. And he's like, well, my parole's coming up, or like maybe not parole, but like my hearing is coming up for maybe what's like overthrowing your trial or whatever. So maybe if you like put a good word in, we can work something out, like a thing. And it works. He actually gets released from jail, and because he said he would, help he said he would help try to develop a way into the backdoor system. Yeah. So he's like, he's not really going out of his way to help him. He doesn't really give a fuck about these the Red Room videos on his website. He's not doing anything bad. Yeah, that's on them. They're doing the bad thing. And so the police. He's going to string him along. He says like, oh yeah, I'll just work on it for like an indefinite amount of time until the statute of limitations runs out on my crimes. And then that's it. And the police said that they have other crimes that they never charged him with that they could throw at him at any time. But, a lot of those, I guess, also have statute of limitations. So, and we see that he also has a girlfriend. What's her name? I can't remember her name, but whatever. His girlfriend, who is also like she's super rich because she made some kind of app for, I'll say this world isn't exactly our world, as we've already kind of said, where, like we said, people are just more attuned to the dark web and how you're able to get on there and stuff than in our world. But also, and Ed has said this on his videos, that in the Red Room universe, comic books are the main form of entertainment. So like, she develops an app that will categorize, help you categorize your comic book collection. So like that's how she makes it rich, because everybody in this universe has comic books and they need an app to help organize. So she makes an app. She gets super fucking rich in the meantime while he was in prison. So when he gets out, he's working, or he's living in this mansion basically with her.
I did like that. They pull up to the house and he's like, holy shit.
Yeah, he's like, this is a long way from our apartment. And so we find out, or when they get there, of course, he's like, it's been a long time. I've been in prison. Let's make some love.
They're like, we're doing it all over this place.
Yeah. They go to every room and christen it. And so that we see the next morning, or I don't know if it's the next morning, but when he wakes up from their loving times, he hears her like kind of horrified, and we see that she's on his laptop that the government gave him to start his work, and watching some of these red room videos, and she's horrified at what she's seeing. She's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And you have to stop this. Like this is horrible that it's on our platform and we can't, allow this or whatever. And so, it kind of gets him to be like, okay, like I'll look into it more or whatever. Cause before he's like, I don't give a fuck about, like, that's on them. Like, I'm not committing murder. Yeah. Like, I made a thing that should exist, which is a way for the government to not be able to track whatever the fuck you're doing. And if these sick fucks want to use it for, murder, then that's on them, and the government can try to find them if they want, but I'm not under any obligation to help them, especially since they arrested me for no fucking reason or whatever. So he decides to help out more now that his girlfriend is kind of disgusted by it or whatever. And so we also see that the FBI comes over and shows him some footage of a man who is suspected of being one of these serial killers in the Red Room videos, specifically Major Slaughter. And so we see that Davis has been arrested, and there's like they have like the videos of him in the interrogation room talking about the Red Room videos with the lawyer guy that we saw earlier, who works for
Dominique.
Yeah, Dominic.
Or Dominic, pardon me.
Dominique.
Well, because his last name is something like that. So.
Yeah, Dominic de Blasi or something like that. Yeah. And so anyway,
excuse me.
So this is kind of like, this takes place in the future, obviously, because as of we were left with Davis before, he's just working. He's not arrested yet, but maybe this, this moves along a little bit further. I don't know how far along this is, but obviously if he's arrested for this, then his daughter would already know that, this is what's going on and whatnot. So that stuff gets addressed later on in the next trailer.
Yeah, I was like, do they take back the college money? Or like, how does that work?
They probably would they would just take everything, right? They just,
But that's you're going to take
the government
education
doesn't care.
away from you. I know.
So spurred on by his girlfriend, Mr. Turks starts working on, developing a backdoor into his own old software. And he decided, like, he can't do it. Like, he's like, we made this too good. Like, we made it so no one can break it, including us. And so his girlfriend is like, oh, why don't you take a break? Hit it tomorrow hard. I'll work on it because, she does tech stuff too or whatever. And then she logs onto her computer to work on it. And we see she's actually into these Red Room videos herself. She has her own screen name called Demon Bitch. And she's tipping and watching these videos on her own. And she's talking to the people in the room like, hey, guys, you ever think you might, want to stop watching these? Like, I wish I could, but I can't. And, like, I'm addicted. But I always kind of wish, like, the government would figure out a way to stop these videos from being able to be made, because then I would be able to, like, be free of this addiction. And so that's, like, the twist is that she's in on it. Because she's actually addicted to these Red Room videos as well.
Yeah, I do she's in it, and then, like, the last panel, she's like, you got to save me, baby. Like, she's like, you need to fucking solve this because I'm addicted to this now.
Yeah. And then the last story in this is about one of these creators or these artists that are serial killers named Donna Butcher. She apparently was one of the, like, first and most circulated videos. We'll say she's like the Betty Page, I guess is what you call her, of this movement or whatever.
I could say, yeah, she's like the first. I mean, because Betty Page wasn't really like a porn star, but
I don't mean like porn star. I just mean like people, everybody knew, like, she circulated around. She's very popular.
Yeah, and for like a risque thing.
Yes. There you go. But this is obviously more than risque. Yeah. She would wear like or this woman named Donna Butcher. She would wear like scantily clad stuff while she killed people or whatever.
Yeah. She it's kind of like she has like battle armor too, but then also scantily clad. It's interesting.
She kind of has the armor of Peacemaker's dad in the show.
Yeah,
but her tits are out. So that's the difference. And this one is totally walked through by a crypt keeper, but his name is the cryptocurrency keeper, which I thought was funny. Yeah. And he tells the story just like the crypt keeper, where he'll like interject himself at in opportune times at opportune times that'll make like jokes in the story or whatever. But we find out that when this starts, there's a woman or a girl named Raina who is a tattoo artist, and we find out the reason why she is a tattoo artist, or we don't know why she's a tattoo artist, but she's training to be a tattoo artist. We find out a bit about her history because she's super rich, and we don't know why. And her friends are like, how are you making so much money? And it turns out that Donna Butcher, in this first video that went viral back in the day, killed her dad on camera, and he was like the first victim ever in one of these videos. So everybody that's ever caught with these videos, with that specific video on their computer, has to pay restitution to her for the rest of their life or whatever, because they're watching her dad get murdered. And so that's like the crux of this, is that she's gonna get revenge on Donna Butcher for this. So
yeah, like we get a little training montage of her. She's like a lecturer or something. She's
montage.
She's doing all this like fight training and knife training.
Yeah, boxing and running and conditioning. And so she on purpose downloads like a shit ton of Red Room videos in order to get put in prison. And it's like a big scandal because it's like daughter of killed person in these videos ends up getting arrested for these videos. And so it makes it like it makes it so the judge is extra hard on her. And I guess she's in an area where Donna Butcher went to prison anyway, because Donna Butcher eventually gets caught. And then we do end up actually seeing what happened to her dad, like the actual video. Of course, he's going to show the actual video. Yeah. But we get like right in the middle of this, the crypt keeper cuts, and we see what Donna did like, or how she became Donna Butcher or whatever. And basically she started off as a porn star, but not before she was like a little kid, where she like murdered her family and the dog.
And yeah.
It's like basically like, oh, her parents abused her, like with like, well, I guess they insinuate that her family is super racist and like just like white trash or whatever, because they got like Confederate flags everywhere, and then they're about to hit her with like a wood paddle or whatever, like a piece of 2x4 basically, to punish her for something. And then it says like, oh, she only felt good when she played with fire. And then she felt the best ever that one night, and it shows like her parents being pulled out of a burning building dead because she burned their house down and with them in it. And then that's when she started like killing puppies and all this other stuff like that. And that's when she got into pornography. And then they found out that she's willing to go further than anybody else does in pornography, because she'll like kill animals in the videos, and that's like a super fucked up fetish or whatever.
Yeah, this was another one of those ones that was like he knew when to cut away from the art.
Yeah, he doesn't show it, but he does set it up well. Where I guess earlier they do mention this specific clip where they're like, wasn't there someone who smashed a puppy with a heel or whatever? And they're like, yeah, that was fucked up. Then they show this. They don't show it all, but they like show the setup for it, where she's putting on stilettos. There's like a little puppy that's like heart, like, you know, as it looks at her. Yeah, and then they're like action, and then she was like leg coming down.
Yeah, just like speed lines, and oh my god!
And then the dog's like, like, and then it cuts away, so we don't have to see it exactly. Then we find out that Raina's dad, the man in the first video, or I guess things escalate for her, so she's now into. They're like, will you kill someone on camera, like a person? And she's like, sure, why not? And then the person that they have her kill is a man that owes money to the mob that's making these videos, and so he, I guess, to like, hey, don't steal from us, and you better pay your debts. They make this video as like a scare tactic, but then when they they hand it out to people to scare them, and people upload it on the internet, and then it becomes like a weird viral thing or whatever that people want to watch. And so at first it was all good, and she's making a bunch of money, but then she didn't pay taxes, and that's how she gets caught and thrown in prison.
That's how they get all the rich bad people.
Yep.
Don't pay your taxes.
Well, that's how they got Capone.
Capone, yeah.
That's how they get everybody. And so, then they cut to her in prison now, and she is looking rough. She's about 300 pounds heavier than she was before. She's missing an eye. She's missing. It looks like someone burned her face.
Yeah.
On one half of it, because she's missing an eye and then like hair and stuff, and the scalp is burned on one side. But she has a lot of tattoos, and that comes into play because all of a sudden we see that there's another person in this prison as well. It's Raina. She got put in the same prison as Donna Butcher, and we wonder why, and why did she become such a good tattoo artist when she had all that money? And it's because she knew Donna Butcher had a bunch of tattoos because she saw her in a documentary, like on Netflix or whatever, about those videotapes that they made of her dad. And so she spent her whole life working up to this revenge, where she learned how to become the best tattoo artist that she knew Donna would want in prison, that she got herself in prison, and now she's doing tattoos for Donna, and Donna's like talking to her, and as she's talking to her, we see like Raina say, oh, like, I'm going to take a 10-second break, just hold on, I need to stretch, as Donna's back is to her getting her back tattooed. And then we see Raina pull out a mop and like hit her on the head. And also there's like a bag of something. I don't know what it is.
I guess it was like a bag. I don't know if it was a bag of sand or a bag of like cement.
I thought it like, maybe it's something like that, but I don't know where she would get that. It's reflective. I thought it was a bag of water or piss or something,
Oh, I don't know, but it's definitely, it's got to be really heavy.
Whatever. She hits her in the head with it, and it doesn't knock her out. Well, I guess it does knock her out. I don't know what it had to be something really heavy. So she hits her in the head with a bag with something really heavy that was attached to a broom, and then she proceeds to beat the broom into her until it breaks, and then she stabs the Donna with the broom. And then as she's doing that, all of a sudden we see like flash, flash, flash. She's getting shot on camera, actually, because the other inmates and some of the actual cops are holding their phones up filming this, and they're like, we're going to put this on World Star. And she's like, what? And then it turns out she's making a Red Room video of her own.
Of her own, yep.
And that's the twist of that one. She hated Red Room videos, and she ended up being a popular Red Room video herself. And that is the end of it.
Yeah, and then it shows at the end, I guess one of the other sites gets it, and then Miss Pentagram's like, oh, God, that's good. It's like a real life one. Because
it's like reality TV basically. But for Red Room,
she's like, how do we get in on this?
Yeah, and so that's the end of the trade. Those 4 issues. So John, what did you think? What would you give this one?
Man, so I had.
Now we could do an asterisk with this, like. Obviously this might be only for people who like super fucked up horror or like, exploitation films or things like that.
I was going to say, even for us, like that's been one of our things for so long is like watching really crappy movies, and a lot of them happen to be like exploitation or, something weird that has extra gory killings and stuff. But I don't know, for some reason, the way he draws it in this comic form, I got uneasy once or twice for real. Like I was like, oh man, like I definitely like I said, like I was reading the like text blurbs and the pictures, and I was like, I skip forward.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like just read the text.
Yeah.
Don't read the actual talking.
Yeah, the talking text, not the chat room.
If you could look at the pictures, just scan them quickly with your eyes.
You know what's going on.
Yeah, but you don't need to actually read any of the chat room. I think the chat room is the most fucked up thing in this. I mean, the art, it's kind of like, there's a little cartooniness in it. It's not like Alex Ross, like full perfect body proportions and stuff. So there is a bit of like, it's like kind of goofy sometimes, but it's obviously of horrible stuff. But the chat is where, the people are super fucked up in, just talking about it. So, I get it, John. I understand.
So my only, I still enjoyed it, but I don't know. I feel weird. Like I feel like my asterisk on this is not that.
Look, the asterisk should be artisticness of it and like creativity.
Yes.
And then what would you would you recommend this to someone?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be many people I would recommend it to, and that's what I feel bad saying. I really have enjoyed his art overall. Like I like his art style. I think it's really cool. From everything we've read so far, and in particular this, like he definitely he went all out. And the story was unique for sure. Like I definitely like that. It definitely felt like you said, I kind of got like Videodrome feels from it.
Yeah.
I got a little bit of Serbian film.
Serbian film.
A little. That's another unfortunate one that Matt has made me watch.
I didn't make you watch anything. You loved it.
And so just and apparently I didn't watch the bad one. So
yeah, you only watched the rated R one.
Yeah,
not the original.
So anyway, but overall, like I said, for the uniqueness of the story and seeing that type of weird grotesqueness in the comic medium, it's unique.
Yeah, you're never going to see this anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really surprised that it got as graphic as it did.
You will never see it anywhere else on the stands in a comic book store. I mean, you could probably see this from like an 80s black and white self-published comic. But it definitely isn't as popular or as well ordered and all that. Like, it's not as ubiquitous,
Oh, side note is I don't remember because I've listened to Cartoonist Kayfabe. Shout out to their podcast.
Oh yeah, Ed has a podcast on YouTube called Cartoonist Kayfabe. It's a podcast audio as well. You can download, but and that's I watch that religiously. He just goes through comics with his buddy Jim Rugg, and they talk.
Is the Outlaw Comics? Is that his? The little thing on the front.
What do you mean?
It's the little logo, Outlaw Comics, or was that just a play?
That's just they like Outlaw Comics.
Oh, okay.
So that's just. They always talk about Outlaw Comics on it. So.
Gotcha. Okay, I didn't know if it was because it kind of looks like the Comics Code too, which was
that's on purpose.
Okay. Yeah. So overall, I would say with everything thrown in this, I'm going to give it a 7.
No, but you give 2 numbers. You give like the actual enjoyability or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And then for artistic creativity, I'm grading it higher or whatever.
Oh yeah. Well, for artistic creativity, it's fantastic, and I would say 8. And then enjoyability, we'll say 6.5.
Okay.
I
mean, that's higher than I thought you were going to give.
Yeah, no, I thought about going lower, but as we went through it again together, I definitely felt a little more confident on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was good overall. I still enjoyed it. I don't know about the recommend, like only to the friends that I know that are like this kind of, weird, messed up stuff.
Sure.
So
I know people.
I'm really curious to see how this episode goes after people find out like what the comic is about and how far they listen. If you get this far, please leave a comment of what your favorite part was, because I really want to know genuinely.
What's your favorite Red Room video? We're gonna catch you. We're going undercover for the FBI. Okay, so I would give this because I had the same. So this might surprise you, John. I had the same reaction as you did when I first read this.
It does surprise me
in issue form, because this goes all out. There's no punches pulled. He goes all out, and so. When I saw this and I read it for the first time in issue form, I was like, okay, this is a lot. There's a lot going on page graphically as well. Like there's a lot to take in, as well as the subject matter, So it's like, if you go see a 3D movie for the first time, it's just like so much information at your face.
Oh, that's such a good
and
comparison.
You're just like, oh, I can't take it all in. I kind of like what I'm seeing, but it's also making me car sick or whatever, or I'm getting a headache or whatever,
yes.
like there's a lot going on. But so I read it, in issue form, and then I read it for this, and now that I knew what was coming, it was much, much smoother, right? I was like, oh, I'm picking up all these little jokes he threw in, all the nuance, like little winks to the audience that watches cartoonist kayfabe and stuff. Like, I feel like it's definitely one, if you can muster through it one time and you're like, you don't hate it, you're like, okay, let me try to read. I would suggest reading it again, but this time just now that you know what's coming, it won't be as much of a brick to the face.
Matt cracked open a durian fruit and was like, oh God, he ate some. He's like, well, I mean, it's kind of good. And then was like, a month later, like, hey, I got some extra leftover durian in the freezer. I wonder if I should. I kind of want to have some again.
Or like falafel or something. The first time you have falafel, you're like, it tastes like feet, and then you're like, I kind of want some feet. What's that? Oh, the tobacco. The tobacco.
Oh yes.
Like, oh, it tastes like grandma. And they're like, it does taste like grandma. I'll take 2 buckets. so yeah, it definitely grew on me. I was supporting it just because I support him, and then I like things that are crazy, like that are never going to be seen anywhere else. They're one-offs. You're never going to have a book like this again. I buy a lot of comics that are like that, even books that I just like the concept of, but maybe aren't my favorite book all the time. But I like reading them, and I like seeing where the author's going to go with it. Like Ice Cream Man or something, where it's an anthology, and I don't like every issue as much as every other issue, but overall I support the concept, the horror genre in comics, and good stuff. It is overall a good comic. I might not like every issue, you know what I'm saying, but like just overall. So this is kind of like that, where like I wanted to see where it went, and then also the best thing is every story is different. Every issue is a different type of story. If you don't like the Davis story from issue 1, try issue 2, or like, you heard us break down what the issues were. Try, one that sounded interesting, maybe the one with Mr. Turks, because that one's like about a guy specifically who seems interesting. Less Red Room content in that one until the end. So like, it's just getting into this world is the hard part. And then once you're in the world, it's kind of like a frog that's sitting in boiling water. You got to start it at a tepid temperature.
Yeah, so they don't freeze out.
And then, you can't just throw it in boiling water.
No, I have to say, in particular, the Mr. Turks one, that's the best one. I would say to ease in. Well, not
that's
ease in.
Issue 3.
That's issue 3. But it was cool because it was such a good twist for one of these, is that this guy, didn't, that's not what he created it for, but whatever. It's not his fault that that's what's happening with it.
Right.
And then, for the twist to be like, oh, now his girl's addicted to it. And it's like, oh, man, that was definitely one of the cooler of the twists.
Yes. I also liked the last one just because the format was like the Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of really raunchy jokes in that one where like he'll just burst in like in one panel and be like, hey everybody, just a little infomercial. I got this what's it called? Fleshlights. It's the new the Crypto Keeper fleshlight, and it's all like it's got like I don't know. It looks like if someone took a flashlight and I'm not going to describe what that is, but you could probably guess.
It's a flashlight.
Sure. Shaped thing?
Yeah.
What are you talking?
A flashlight is a flashlight. It looks like a flashlight.
It looks like a flashlight.
Yeah, that's all you got to say.
Okay. It's a flashlight you fuck. I'll say that. So because that's the other part of it,
yes.
John. And so it's for men, all right? And so sometimes they are molded to look like certain things. Body parts or whatever. And on this specific one, it has like looks like Judas Priest studs around it and stuff. It just looks all like 80s metaled out, like if Eddie from Iron Maiden had one of those.
Okay.
Yes. So yeah, I thought that was really funny. It like made me laugh out loud while I was reading it. So
yeah, I liked at the end of when he's telling the backstory on Donna Butcher, and he's like, "Snuff said" at the end.
Yeah, Snuff said. Yeah.
Yeah, very crypt creepery. I like that.
Yes. So I'm going to also give this an asterisk 1, right? Like my asterisk rating is, I'm going to give this an 8.5. I think it is very creative. It is very boundary pushing. It's very one-off and unique. And he's really trying to push himself to make these kills interesting and stuff while still having humor, still having a story in the background that's like these crimes going on that are pushing the story forward. Because even though they don't push the story forward like straightforwardly, they like in the background you'll see what's going on with Davis or things like that, so you know what's going on. So I like that a lot. So I'm gonna give this without the asterisks. Like if I just pick this up off the stand, like, what's Red Room? It says it's banned in 9 countries. It must be crazy. Much like our Cannibal Holocaust experience. I feel like I would pick this up based on the name and like what the cover is, which the cover is that dude that's getting his chest flayed off with the knife or whatever. But it's like redded out, so you can barely see it because of the line art. So it's okay to have on a shelf at a comic book store, but if you look at it long enough, you're like, oh, that's a person getting their whole like front ripped open or whatever. So yeah, like I think this is for a specific person. Someone who likes extreme things, like they like movie magic and art specifically kind of stuff. They like Return of the Living Dead and Videodrome and those kinds of movies and stuff. Hell, if you like Cannibal Holocaust, you'll probably like this movie, this comic. Although, like I said, I wouldn't recommend watching that movie. There's better movies of that era that you could watch, like Zombie. Zombie's a much better version or movie that is also an Italian movie.
Yeah, Zombie
also has fun. Weird gore horror, but it's not actual.
A zombie fights a shark in that movie.
Yes, and the shark does not get hurt.
Yeah,
so that I know of at least. So
it didn't seem like it.
This dude fights a tiger shark underwater in a zombie suit. If you haven't seen Zombie, it's fucking crazy. Go see it.
Yeah, I like that one actually. Yeah. It was fun.
Italians in the 70s were crazy. That's all I know.
Mamma mia.
Yeah, mamma mia. Go kill that shark. Or go fight that shark. You're getting paid dollars. Go kill that shark or go fight that shark. Like I said, they don't kill the shark. They have a man in a zombie suit fight a shark underwater. The shark is actually biting the man. So like it's pretty crazy. Anyway. So yeah, I feel like there is definitely an audience for this, but it is not your normal comic book audience. I think if someone who reads Miss Marvel or whatever were to pick this book up off the shelf, first off, I don't see why they would. But if by chance you're like, I heard people talk about Red Room, how bad could it be? Like, this is for like those people. This is what I'm thinking. Like the person that would do that is like the person you've heard of the icebergs, right? Like the video lists where the tip top is like,
oh yeah, it's
like, oh, fucked up movie iceberg list, and then the top is like, Charlie in the Chocolate Factory or whatever, and then like the bottom is like Faces of Death 25 or whatever, and it's like, what the fuck? Actually, worse than that, but like, this would be like someone who thinks they're getting something from up top because they have no idea how hardcore something can be.
Yeah,
and they pick this book up, being like, yeah, I'm gonna be one of the cool kids or whatever. I'm gonna push my limits. And then they jumped in the deep end. I'm going to say that. So
they got some of the iceberg that was below
water. I don't know if it's at the bottom because it's definitely there is a cartoony. There's humor to it. There's a story elements and everything, but it's definitely not for your average comic book reader. We'll say.
Yeah.
But hopefully, people could hear us talk about it and get the story and enjoy that at least. So, I'm going to give the the non-asterisk version grade, I'm going to give that, I think, a 6, because I don't think it's very. I wouldn't hand this to anybody that wasn't like a good friend or someone I knew was like, oh, you like fucked up movies? Check this shit out. Like, or you like weird underground stuff or whatever. You like G.G. Allen music or whatever. Like, here, check this fucking comic out or whatever. So, I just feel like it's a little too hardcore for your normie or whatever. Yeah. But if you can look past the.
Do you love the MCU? You should totally read Red Room.
I think they're gonna. Isn't the MCU gonna make a Red Room show on Disney Plus?
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't think that's gonna happen. But hey, I hope it does, because Ed, get his name out there, make some money. But I like the fact that he's at the tip top, or like one of the pinnacles of his success, where he made like Hip Hop Family Tree. He's got this straight cred. He did the X-Men. He did the X-Men Grand Design books, which took like 180 X-Men issues and condensed it into like 3 issues of comics. So if you ever wanted to know everything about X-Men, but you didn't want to read 300 issues of X-Men, just read these 3 issues and you get like from 70s to 1990s history of X-Men in 3 books. So he condensed them all into that with his art style. And he redrew like famous panel or covers and stuff and panels and in his style and stuff. It's very, very cool. So he's coming off of that success, and he's like, you know what I want to do? A book that probably will not be able to be on bookstore shelves. And I think I can make it work because I have a YouTube channel now and people who like us or whatever. So I appreciate that he's willing to risk that or like do that kind of a thing. And, it is definitely like an artistic expression thing because, to draw the anatomy in this book, it's a hard thing. Like, yeah. I mean, you might think, oh, you're just drawing like guts, but like to draw them the way he draws them, which are pretty anatomically correct, and to make it look good is really hard to do. So I feel like this is a very pushing artistic challenge for him, and also to make the story interesting and tie all that together, and also have every issue be a standalone issue that you can pick up and read and understand what's going on. So there's a lot of stuff he's challenging himself with. So I give him that. I give him credit for that a lot, and that's what the asterisk rating was for, an 8.5 for that. But just overall, I don't think you could give this to someone. Grandma ain't gonna pick this up off the shelves and give it to their kid or whatever. Hey, if you got a metalhead kid, that's like 18 or 17 or whatever, be like, here, read this fucking thing. Like, this is crazy. You might be okay.
Do you have a kid drawing on his notebooks with little knives of
yes?
blood and
is
stuff?
there a kid that's like, what's fucking awesome? And what if Iron Maiden's Eddie came in and then like took a knife and was like down someone's front, and then like if his intestines fell out and flayed everywhere?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Be fucking awesome. Yeah, that's exactly what this book is. It's some like high school metalhead kid's notebook, that he has to write in for composition class. But he makes sure he adds all the like Metallica symbols and Slayer.
There's doodles all over that, and the teacher saw it.
Yes, exactly. So with that being said, John, what are we reading next week?
Next week, we are going to jump in. It is Shark Week.
It is our favorite holiday, yes. Shark Week. and this is probably the only year we're going to do it because there's not a lot of comics about sharks.
Yeah. Or there is ones, and I'll be like, Matt, what's that one? He's like, oh, you don't want to read that one. That's
well, what we could do? We could do that. I'll have to read ahead and find one that like works. There's some European shark comics that have really great covers that every time John sees it, he forgets he saw it and goes, "What's that?"
I am such a sucker for I am the demographic for really cool comic covers. I'm like, "Oh, what's that? That's cool." And Matt's like, "That no, that's
garbage. Yeah. It's garbage inside."
Anyway, we're going to be reading the updated version of one of the ones that we jumped into a couple months back.
Last year.
Was it last year?
Last year.
Wow. So we are going to be reading the new and not improved, but the new version of
possibly improved
Hookjaw.
Hookjaw, killer shark with a hook in his fucking jaw.
Yeah.
And he's got a revenge, not fantasy, a revenge to have on you. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's got a grudge. That's what I'm saying.
Say he gets that hook stuck in his jaw, and he knows it's there, and he uses it. Not only does he want to eat you with his jaws, he knows that hook is there, and he will use the hook as
a weapon.
intended.
As a fucking weapon.
Yeah. So if you haven't listened to that old episode, definitely go back. We'll make sure to link it with the new one so you can check it out
for sure.
Because that
it is a blast.
It is a fun British.
It's one of my most favorite comics that we've read. I had to go find it in hardcover because it's out of print and it's a British comic and it's hard to find. And I was like, that's something that I'm not going to be able to find after a while because who knows when they're going to reprint Hookjaw Volume 1 again. You know? So I found it. But this new one is an updated version that came out also in Britain, but like in the mid 2010s, so like 2015-ish era. Okay. I did read part of the first issue and was like, okay, we'll see how this goes. But yeah, next week we're going to read that. And then the week after that, we're going to get serious from Shark Week and we're going to read Mouse. One of the, that's for the True Story graphic novel poll winner. And speaking of poll winners, just a shout out to our Patreons. This one goes out to Hoku, this episode of Red Room, because she was the one who wanted crime stories.
I hope you were ready for it.
I hope you're ready for it. And then shout out to Otaku Mike, who wanted True Story. So that's why we're doing Mouse. So hopefully he hasn't read that, or if he does, he doesn't mind us doing it. So, but that's one that needs to be talked about. It got some publicity recently because it, I guess, was on a banned book list for some school library or something. I don't know. Something was weird was going on, but who knows? But yeah, it's about the Holocaust. It's the true story of Art Spiegelman, the author's father in one of these work camps or death camps. I guess death camps.
Death camps, yes.
Death camps during World War II. So it's a very serious story, and it's told in a very specific, interesting way. So we will read that in 2 weeks and Hookjaw next week. And if you would like to become a Patreon member and vote on these episodes that we do and have a say in what we're putting out there, you can join us at patreon.com/planes, trains, and comic books, all one word. And you can sign up we have a couple tiers. There's one that is just our basic blue and gold tier is what it's called. And you just become a team member. You get to vote on polls. You get our weekly post updates and everything. And then, if we have anything extra, we'll do later. Maybe that'll go on there too. But for now, it's just that. And then that's kind of like you support what we do. You like our podcast weekly and everything. Because these are a lot of work. We put a lot of effort, and also all the YouTube and videos stuff we do. And then like the Swamp Thing Matt's minis. So on top of that, if you like Swamp Thing Matt's minis and you don't know, I do a Hellblazer Matt's minis on Patreon. So if you like the concept of Swamp Thing Matt's minis, where I read every issue of Swamp Thing, I am doing that with Hellblazer. We are currently on issue 29 this week. So working our way through a 300 issue series of Hellblazer. And then with Swamp Thing, I think we've already gone past the Alan Moore run. We're almost to issue 100, so we are working our way through it. And I think we only have 60 more issues after that, so no time at all. That's only another year of content.
Yeah,
so, that's it. And then we got Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5, and Volume 6. So just the rest of my life is going into Swamp Thing. But yeah, I really like doing those, and I hope you guys enjoy them as well. So definitely check us out on Patreon if you would like to get any of that extra stuff, and also just vote on polls and get more involved with our podcast in general.
Yep. But you can check out all of our social media as well. We got Twitter, we got YouTube. Obviously, we have some content on there just on YouTube. We also have our Instagram and TikTok.
And Twitter.
I said Twitter first.
Did you? Oh, yeah. I don't know.
I
wasn't paying attention while
to me.
You're talking.
That's fine. But we appreciate y'all listening, like, share, and subscribe. And I guess with that, we'll see you on the next one.
On the next one.
Bye.